Good day, here are today's top stories from the Pna Headlines. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday hailed the launch of the World Bank Group's Country Partnership Framework or CPF for fiscal years 2025 to 2031. Speaking at the ceremonial turnover of the CPF at the Malacañang Palace in Manila, Marcos said the partnership reflects the priorities he laid out in his fourth State of the Nation address and aligns with the Philippine Development Plan 2023 to 2028. Marcos outlined three major outcome areas supported by the CPF, which is improving access to quality health care and education, opening more jobs in private sectors, and strengthening the country's disaster resilience in climate change. He noted the ongoing Phase 1 of the Philippine Health Systems Resilience Project as a key initiative in building capacity to respond to health emergencies and improving equitable access to care.
We are improving the delivery of public health services, especially in underserved areas, including Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao.
On education, he highlighted the need to address learning gaps and align student skills with market demands. The drive job creation, the government will continue simplifying business regulations, enhancing infrastructure, and attracting more investments. Marcos also stressed the need for climate adaptation and disaster preparedness.
Pinapalakas natin ang kakayahan ng bansa na harapin ang mga sakuna at epekto ng pagbabago ng klima.
The CPF will contribute to 8 of the World Bank Group's 15 target outcomes, including healthier lives, digital connectivity, learning, climate resilience, and improved private investment. The Department of Agriculture, or DA, said on Tuesday that about 18 billion pesos will be allocated for the nationwide rollout of the 20 pesos per kilo of rice under the Benting Bigas Meron Na or BBM Na starting next year to benefit more Filipino families, including farmers. This came after President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. vowed to extend the BBM Na to more Filipinos without damaging local palay producers during his fourth State of the Nation address. Marcos earlier mentioned that 113 billion pesos worth of budget support to the DA's program, which also covers the 20 pesos per kilo nationwide rice expansion. In an ambush interview on the sidelines of a post-SONA forum in San Juan City, Agriculture Secretary Francisco Tiu Laurel Jr. said the DA aims to target about 60 million individuals from the members of the vulnerable sector up to middle-income families next year. He added that the 18 billion pesos is allotted for next year's 15 million households. The 8 billion was already secured through the National Food Authority's existing rice stocks, while the remaining 10 billion will be allocated for the palay procurement next year. The DA also include Filipino farmers for its BBM Na program beneficiaries starting next month. Food and Terminal Incorporated booths would be stationed at NFA warehouses to make the BBM Na accessible to local farmers. Among the venues where additional beneficiaries can access the 20 pesos per kilo rice are Kadiwa ng Pangulo centers, pop-up stores, accredited outlets in local markets, and in schools. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, is intensifying efforts to address water security, flooding, and deforestation amid President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s call for a climate-resilient future and sustainable development. At the post-State of the Nation Address Conference on Tuesday, Environment Secretary Rafael Lotilla cited government data stating that an estimated 40 million Filipinos nationwide still lack access to safe and clean water resources. He admitted that this is a challenge that the DENR is working to solve through various approaches, including implementation of clean water systems, rainwater harvesting, reforestation, and even hazard mapping. In 2024, 2024, Lotilla said that 6 filtration and desalination systems were installed, while 28 more are expected to be operational by 2025. He also emphasized the importance of rainwater catchment systems, supporting Marcos's call to institutionalize water storage as a standard feature in urban planning. The DENR is coordinating with the Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development to integrate cistern requirements or incentives, intro subdivision, and housing development policies. On reforestation efforts, Lotilla noted the agency's plan to double the national tree planting target from 5 million to 10 million trees by 2028 via private partnership. Meanwhile, in the recent flooding and landslides caused by typhoons and monsoon rains, he reminded local governments of the availability of accessible hazard maps like Hazard Hunter PH and the geohazard mapping of the DENR's Mines and Geosciences Bureau, or MGB. The MGB prepares 2 to 3 day forecasts of landslide and flood-prone areas to help local government units to prepare for climate-related disasters based on Pag-asa's data. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or Phivolcs, has issued a tsunami warning after a powerful undersea earthquake struck the east coast of Russia. In an advisory, Pag-asa said tsunami waves as high as 1 meter may hit coastal areas in the Philippines facing the Pacific Ocean on Wednesday afternoon, July 30, between 1:20 p.m. and 2:40 p.m. The areas that may experience the tsunami includes Batanes Group of Islands, Cagayan, Isabela, Aurora, Quezon, Camarines Norte, Camarines Sur, Albay, Sorsogon, Catanduanes, Northern Samar, Eastern Samar, Leyte, Southern Leyte, Dinagat Islands, Surigao del Norte, Surigao del Sur, Davao del Norte, Davao Oriental, Davao Occidental, Davao del Sur, and Davao de Oro. Phivolcs advises residents in these areas to stay away from the beach and avoid going to the coast. Those living near the shorelines must move further inland. Boat owners in harbors, estuaries, or shallow coastal waters should secure their vessels and move away from the waterfront, while vessels already at sea should stay offshore in deep waters until further advice. The U.S. Geological Survey reports that the magnitude 8.8 undersea quake struck at 7:23 a.m. Manila time off the coast of Kamchatka, Russia. Tsunami warnings have been issued for Russia, Japan, Hawaii, Alaska, the United States, Pacific Coast, and Taiwan. Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary Claire Castro will remain in her position as Palace Press Officer. PCO Acting Secretary Dave Gomez confirmed that he is retaining Castro 2 weeks after she filed her courtesy resignation in line with the agency's realignment efforts. Castro will continue to lead Palace press briefings and release official statements on presidential engagements, policies, and positions. Gomez said Castro is doing a fine job in the PCO. The PCO chief previously ordered on his first day in office for all PCO political appointees to file their unqualified courtesy resignations by the 18th of July. Castro was appointed to her post in February along with then PCO Acting Secretary Jay Ruiz. The PCO says there are no other appointees in the agency so far. Moving on to our business news, the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources in Northern Mindanao is providing 1.2 million pesos to support bangus or milkfish production in the municipality of Maticao in Misamis Oriental. BFAR 10 focal person Villa Flora Rosso said the amount is dispersed under the National Bangus Development Program, or NBDP, since June this year. She said the intervention aims to strengthen the bangus industry in Manticao and create sustainable livelihood opportunities for coastal residents. Rosos added the NBDP helps local fisher folk contribute to food security, especially in areas where aquaculture is underutilized. BFAR 10 has also completed the seaweed farming technology training for fisher folk in Barangay Bara, Tudela Town, Misamis Oriental, which will give them opportunities for additional livelihood. Meanwhile, the government seeks to empower more businesses to become drivers of economic growth by allocating a higher lending budget for MSMEs or micro, small, and medium enterprises. In a post-State of the Nation address interview in San Juan City on Tuesday, Trade Secretary Roque said among the expected beneficiaries are women entrepreneurs who are the recipients of the recently launched Women's Enterprise Fund and the creative industries. Roque said they want to boost the creative industry similar to how Korea taps creatives to drive tourism and trade. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. committed in his fourth SONA on Monday to providing capital to more small businesses at a low interest rate and without requiring collateral. He also vowed to provide entrepreneurs with more training opportunities that will help sustain their businesses. The government aims to boost MSMEs, which contribute only around 35% to the domestic economy's annual output, despite accounting for about 99.5% of the country's enterprises and over 60% of the total workforce. And those are the latest and the biggest stories from the Pna Headlines. For more news updates, visit our website pna.gov.ph or our Facebook and X account, Philippine News Agency. You may also watch the Pna Headlines through the Philippine News Agency's YouTube account and via the News and Information Bureau website under PNA News. I am William Theo. This is the Pna Headlines, bringing you stories that unite the nation.